You thought you were loved, but you were just managed. You followed the rules, you kept the peace, you tried not to cause problems. And for that, you were rewarded with approval. Not connection, not warmth, just control. This is the difference between being loved and being tolerated. You were praised when you stayed quiet, corrected when you showed emotion, punished when you were too much. You were raised to make others comfortable, to be polite, to be useful, not to be yourself, not to ask questions, not to be free. Love doesn't sound like, fix your face, calm down. You're too sensitive. That's not love, that's management. You knew exactly which version of yourself was acceptable. You learned to scan the room, read the mood, and adjust who you were. You became a master of what do they need me to be right now. That's not authenticity, that's performance. And worst of all, you believed that was love. You were so easy to be around because you didn't ask for much. You never made people uncomfortable because you ignored your own discomfort. You never got into fights because you swallowed your voice. And what did that get you? Praise, politeness, and a deep, aching emptiness. It wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It wasn't obvious. That's why you didn't notice it, because management looks like manners. It sounds like logic. It hides behind good intentions. But it makes you shrink. It teaches you to suppress. It trains you to apologize for simply existing. Now you flinch when someone asks what you need. You apologize when you speak for too long. You over-explain every emotion. You say I'm fine even when you're not, because you're scared your truth is too much for people. You don't know what being loved looks like, because you were only ever managed. This realization hurts. You don't just grieve what happened, you grieve what never happened. You grieve the hugs that felt conditional, the compliments that came with a rule, the care that only showed up when you performed. You grieve the childhood you didn't even know you missed. Real love doesn't need you to shrink. It invites you to expand. It doesn't control your expression, it welcomes your truth. Real love asks, what do you need? Not, what's wrong with you? Real love feels like presence, curiosity, safety. You're allowed to say what you feel without being punished for it. You're allowed to take up space without having to earn it. You're allowed to be loved for who you are, not for how manageable you make other people's lives. It takes time to relearn, to rebuild, to reparent yourself. But the truth is this, you were always lovable, even when you weren't convenient. You weren't too emotional, too needy, too intense. You were just managed by people who didn't know how to love fully. But now, you get to stop managing yourself. You get to choose love that makes room. Love that doesn't need you to shrink. Love that sees you. If this hit too close, you're not alone. Subscribe. We're unlearning performance together. And you're always welcome back here.